So let me ask then: did you buy that unit, that duplex in Kira or Coolangatta to live in, or did you buy it as investment property? Because I think this will be a good sort of
question.
case study for people.
Yeah, so it was obviously one of my first purchases, so I always looked at it as an investment. We bought it in 2019, so my mate and I, it's actually a development site, so we bought it. I bought the top, he bought the bottom. Mine was a 3-bedroom, duplex, this was a 2-bedroom. But the site itself had a 21-story height limit, medium density. It was north facing, 300 metres from the beach. And, if you're listening to this, and we got the site for $910,000, which, it's insane the way where it's gone. But
you got the whole thing for 910.
Yeah,
both buildings.
Yeah, so mine was $494,000 at the end of it after I negotiated. I push back a little bit just with building and pest reports. That's a little tip I try to help people with every now and then.
Tell us, what's the tip?
You get your building and pest report, and there might be things that don't seem like a big deal to you. However, you can negotiate further with the building and pest report. So it might be that there could be a few $1,000s worth in potential fixes. In ours, there's the back stairs. They were on a slight gradient, which was I'm laughing at it now. I don't, but it was my first purchase.
If it's $4,000, that's a couple of good surfboards.
It was. So it was ended up being $4,000 off the total purchase price. It wasn't much, but it was seriously one question.
Yeah,
and they agreed to it, and that saved us $4,000 just like within 15 seconds. So my hourly rate that day was amazing.
Yeah. And I did the same thing with my WA property. The building pest check came back, and there were some things in the cladding of the roof, and I just gave the option to the owner that I was buying it from. Hey, you want to fix this, and you pay for it now, and I would prefer you to do that, so you can go get quotes and you do it on your own dollar and terms, or I take this X amount off the sale price and I do it myself. And I could have made a bit more money doing it that way, but it would have been a bit more hassle. And they were just like, yeah, we'll just get it sorted before settlement. So that's a really, really good tip. Okay, you bought that as an investor.
Well, I bought it as an owner-occupier, and in Queensland, there was people often come to me and asking, like, do I go owner-occupier first? Do I go investor? And it's always, you got to look at the numbers. So for me, in that circumstance, it was the stamp duty gets waived for first-home buyers. It starts at
that time anyway.
Yeah, so it fully gets waived under $500,000 in Queensland, and then it pro-rise up to $550,000. So I was hunting around to try and find something for $500,000. And so was my mate, and we're looking at sort of that whole development site play where we control the whole asset and then hold it for 10 years and then develop it when we're older. And so in that circumstance, I was able to get into a really strong growth location based on the data that I was using at the time, and I got that tax-free or stamp duty waived. So that was at the time, I think it was $15,000 that I didn't have to pay because I'm a first homeowner. But in the back of my mind, it was the investment play that I was interested in, because the plan was to move in, do it up for 12 months, and then either live in it for either 12 to 24 months, ended up being 24 months because you do all the work, you enjoy it, you love the place. But then also with the tax rulings in Australia, you get the capital gains tax free as a principal place of residence for 6 years until you buy or say that you're living in another principal place of residence. So that can be a really interesting play for people if they are looking to, they can buy, and then if they want to go traveling for a couple of years or go live in a different location for a couple of years, you maintain that as your principal place of residence. So if in 6 years you haven't bought another property, you declared that as your principal place of residence, you can sell that property and have no capital gains tax on it, and then it can set you up. So if you were investing in it and you bought either another owner-occupier and moved into that, that then automatically becomes your investment property. And if you were to sell it, then you have to pay capital gains tax on it.
Yeah.
So there's different ways of going about it. That's the way I went about it. And also, when you move in, you can do it up. You can get a valuation when you move out. If you do go to another owner-occupier residence, then that's your benchmark because you've moved out at that stage, or another owner-occupier, but you've increased that value by renovating it throughout that 1 to 2 years. So the government will then look at that. Say if you were to sell it in the future, they'd look at, well, what was the value of it when it stopped being your principal place of residence, and you only pay the capital gains tax on that balance. But I'm not an accountant. This is just all general stuff.
Yeah, and check your state and the legislation in your state for stamp duties and capital gains tax can be the same everywhere, but first homeowners grant and whatnot